12,000 years ago, in the mountains of what is now Turkey, something impossible happened. A wild grass suddenly transformed into wheat. Modern geneticists examined its DNA in 2018 and found deliberate modifications that could only come from intentional selection. Someone was doing genetic engineering before metal tools, before writing, before cities existed. In the next 14 minutes, discover how civilization actually began and why everything you learned about farming is wrong. Welcome to GrowWise Vision, where we combine ancient agricultural wisdom with modern science to help you grow more food with less effort and zero corporate dependency. If you are tired of expensive systems and advice that does not work, hit that subscribe button. Every textbook says farming started because humans got hungry and smart. Population pressure forced innovation. Except that story is completely backwards. When archaeologists excavated Göbekli Tepe in 1994, they found massive stone temples built by hunter-gatherers who supposedly could not organize large projects. No houses, no villages, just temples. And surrounding these temples, they found the earliest evidence of domesticated wheat. The people built temples first, then started farming to feed the workers. Religion created agriculture, not hunger. But here is where it gets strange. Wild einkorn wheat has 14 chromosomes. It shatters easily when ripe, scattering seeds everywhere. That is how wild plants survive. Domesticated einkorn has 28 chromosomes. Its seeds stay on the stem until harvested. That mutation does not happen naturally. Someone had to notice rare non-shattering plants, save only those seeds, replant them for generations, and gradually shift an entire population. That process requires understanding heredity, planning across decades, and coordinating effort across communities. Hunter-gatherers supposedly living hand-to-mouth were conducting multi-generational genetic experiments. Modern plant breeding did not achieve this level of sophistication until Gregor Mendel in 1866. Yet 12,000 years ago, in a world without writing or science, humans were doing it successfully. The plant they chose was not random either. Einkorn wheat contains exactly the right balance of proteins, starches, and oils to sustain human life indefinitely. It grows in poor soil. It resists drought. It stores for years without spoiling. Out of 10,000 plant species in the Fertile Crescent, ancient farmers selected the one with the most useful genetic traits. Either they got impossibly lucky, or they understood plant genetics far better than history gives them credit for. And einkorn was not alone. At the same time, in the same region, humans domesticated barley, lentils, chickpeas, and flax. 5 plants, all with different growing requirements, all modified genetically, within a few centuries of each other. The coordination required is staggering. Different communities must have been sharing knowledge, trading seeds, comparing results. This was not accidental. This was a deliberate program. Think about what that means. These people had no written language to record experiments, no microscopes to see plant cells, no understanding of DNA or genes. Yet they successfully modified the genetic structure of multiple plant species simultaneously. They understood cause and effect across generations. They tracked subtle differences in thousands of individual plants. They maintained seed purity while experimenting with crosses. This is not primitive. This is sophisticated science. Modern agriculture has completely forgotten this wisdom. Today, 90% of human calories come from just 15 plant species. Ancient farmers cultivated hundreds. Modern wheat has been bred for industrial harvesting, not nutrition or resilience. It requires synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, and constant irrigation. Ancient einkorn needed none of that. It thrived in marginal soil with minimal water. The earliest farmers built a system that worked for 8,000 years without external inputs. We built a system that depletes soil in 50 years and depends on petroleum-based chemicals. Which approach is actually advanced? Here is what really disturbs agricultural scientists. The transition from wild to domesticated happened too fast. Genetic mutations that should take thousands of years to stabilize appeared in just 3 to 5 centuries. Either ancient farmers were selecting with incredible precision, or something accelerated the process we do not understand. Some researchers quietly suggest they had help. Not from aliens, but from knowledge passed down from an earlier lost civilization. The evidence keeps stacking up. Göbekli Tepe shows organizational capacity and astronomical knowledge hunter-gatherers supposedly lacked. The genetic modifications show understanding of heredity millennia before it should exist. And most disturbing, after 8,000 years of successful ancient agriculture, we somehow forgot everything and had to reinvent farming using industrial methods that destroy soil and require massive chemical inputs. Why would humans abandon a system that worked perfectly? Follow the money. Modern agriculture is a $4 trillion industry built on patented seeds, synthetic fertilizers, and chemical pesticides. Ancient methods require none of that. You save seeds. You build soil with organic matter. You work with nature instead of against it. Every time someone grows einkorn wheat in their backyard, they prove you do not need Monsanto. Every time someone builds permanent soil fertility using compost and mulch, they prove you do not need synthetic nitrogen. The ancient system empowers individuals. The modern system creates dependency. Is it any surprise that schools do not teach the full story? That agricultural universities focus on industrial methods and ignore 8,000 years of proven alternatives? The knowledge exists. The plants still exist. Einkorn wheat is commercially available. You can grow the exact same species that started civilization 12,000 years ago. It tastes better than modern wheat. It is more nutritious. It grows with less water and no fertilizers. But you will never see it in supermarkets because it does not fit industrial harvesting equipment and cannot be controlled through patents. Here is another detail they do not mention. Ancient farmers did not just select for yield. They selected for nutrition, flavor, storage quality, and growing ease. They wanted plants that would keep their families healthy across generations. Modern plant breeding selects for shipping durability, shelf life, and profit margins. The goals are completely different. Ancient wheat has higher protein content, better mineral availability, and compounds that modern wheat lost. People with gluten sensitivity often tolerate einkorn perfectly because its gluten structure is fundamentally different from modern hybridized wheat. We bred nutrition out in favor of industrial convenience. The most revealing evidence comes from comparing ancient and modern agricultural resilience. When drought struck ancient Mesopotamia, einkorn wheat survived on minimal rainfall. When pests appeared, the genetic diversity in saved seeds meant some plants always resisted naturally. When soil fertility dropped, these ancient varieties adapted and continued producing. Modern monoculture wheat cannot do any of this. A single disease can wipe out entire harvests because every plant is genetically identical. A drought means total crop failure without expensive irrigation. Depleted soil means zero yield without chemical fertilizers. We traded resilience and sustainability for short-term convenience and corporate profit. This is the real lesson of how farming started. It was not a desperate response to hunger. It was a sophisticated, coordinated program of genetic improvement that took incredible patience and knowledge. The people who did it were not primitive. They were master plant breeders who understood genetics before we had words for genes. And the system they built worked for 8 millennia until industrial agriculture replaced sustainability with profit. You have a choice. Keep buying into a system that depletes soil, requires expensive inputs, and creates dependency. Or reconnect with the ancient knowledge that fed humanity for most of our history. The plants are still here. The methods still work. The only thing missing is people willing to remember. You can order einkorn seeds online today. You can plant them this season. You can taste what civilization tasted like 12,000 years ago. And you can prove to yourself that ancient farming wisdom is not just history. It is the future we desperately need. If this changed how you see the origins of farming, hit that like button and drop a comment. What surprised you most? Are you interested in growing ancient grains like einkorn? Subscribe to GrowWise Vision for more deep dives into agricultural wisdom that modern science is just beginning to understand. Next time, we are exploring how Sumerian farmers grew food in pure sand using techniques modern science cannot fully explain. Until then, think like the first farmers did. Plan for generations, not seasons.